Hi folks, and welcome to Our Mountains. I'm Dean Osborne.
And I'm Joel Brashear, and you may have noticed that our third co-host, my mother Rhonda Brashear, is not here with us. She's actually on assignment right now, and we'll be going to her here in just a few minutes.
We have assignment now.
Listen, buddy, we're big time. What are you talking about?
I missed that meeting, I'm sorry.
But before we get started, I want to talk to you a little bit about church dinners. Now, clearly looking at me, I have not missed many church dinners.
Me neither.
What's the best thing you ever ate at a church dinner?
I've always liked the fried chicken in different regions. I consider myself a connoisseur of fried chicken.
It's a good word.
So when you play bluegrass gospel music and you go to churches, different people have different ways of cooking it in different parts of the country. You go up north and they've got a little bit different kind of batter and texture. And I can't for sure say who's the best because I always want to go back to the other ones.
Absolutely.
Because the second, third, and fourth place is a very close second, third, and fourth. There's not a lot of difference in between, but I will say Eastern Kentucky is one of the best places that you'll eat any fried chicken in the world, and especially the church folks. They know how to cook.
Well, we're going to have to do fried chicken on an upcoming episode, but right now we're going to go to my mom, who is at our home church, Muncie Creek Baptist, with a very special lady named Betty Huff, who makes, in my opinion, the world's best chicken and dumplings. Mom?
Thanks, Joel. We're here today at Muncie Creek Baptist Church, and we're going to be talking about good food, good family, and fellowship. And I have with me today a friend, a longtime friend, Miss Betty Huff. Betty, thank you for being with us today. We're so excited about having you.
Glad to be here.
And we want to learn how you make your dumplings. So go ahead and tell us what you're going to be doing.
It's not a complicated process. A lot of people make it complicated, but it's really not. It only has 3 ingredients. Start out with 5 cups of flour. I'm going to try to dump this. I may make a mess.
5 cups of flour.
Self-rising flour.
Okay, 5 cups self-rising flour.
Get this off of here. 1/2 cup of vegetable oil.
Okay, what kind do you use? Canola or
I use vegetable oil.
vegetable oil?
Or
Okay.
any brand. I've used them all. And then 1 bottle of ice cold water.
Ice cold. Okay.
Must be ice cold. I don't use the whole bottle. I just use enough to get it to start balling up. When it balls up into a good soft dough, then I put water in.
I like that big mixer.
It's going to be a little noisy, but try not to get that flare everywhere. And you see the dough is starting to leave the sides of the dough. That's what you want it to do. Okay, I think that's good enough.
Okay, so once the
The dough starts leaving the bowl, you're ready to take it out.
All right. So Betty, we've taken it off the dough hook and you're getting ready to roll it out, is that right? Okay.
Now I usually cut it about a third, so I don't want about a third of my dough to roll it out at a time. Punch me off a bunch of it. You don't have to knead it. The mixer does the work for you. Just get a little bit of flour working in it. And let me get my rolling pin here floured. It makes a good soft, smooth dough. I like it silky, on silky dough.
I see your broth is going really well over here now. It's boiling, so I'm going to take the lid off.
When it's boiled, you get ready to drop it down. Now you roll these out almost paper thin, about an eighth of an inch or even thinner if you can. And then I cut them with a pizza roller in about 1-inch squares.
Okay. So
Lay
can
them
you...
on a cookie sheet that's lined with wax paper, and I just keep layering them up until I get all of them rolled out and cut. I freeze them in on this. I usually make my dumplings ahead of time and keep them in the freezer, so when I need them, I just pull them out and cook them then.
So do you pull them out frozen? Do you have to thaw them first?
No, you want them frozen.
Frozen,
Completely
okay.
frozen.
All
Drop
right.
them when they're frozen.
So about how many would this batch make? 5 cups of flour?
It'll make 2 gallons of dumplings.
2 gallons.
After they've frozen on the cookie sheet, I take them and put them in gallon Ziploc bags, and it'll make about 2 gallons or two batches. I call them for probably a family of about 8.
Okay. Or a big church dinner like we're having today.
Well,
Okay.
I cooked 2 kibbles today, so,
All right.
so we'll have plenty. Okay, then you cut it with a pizza roller, about 1-inch squares. Nothing fancy.
This is something kids would enjoy doing, wouldn't they? little
Biggest
messy.
job is picking them up off the board and putting them on your cookie sheet on the tin.
Okay.
Okay, then I prepare my broth. What I do when I cook my chicken, I cook it ahead of time. You can use a whole chicken, or you can use just chicken parts if you like dark meat or white meat, whatever your preference is. My family all likes white meat, so I use chicken breast. About 6 or 8 chicken halves breast. Cooked, and then I take it to, I let it cool. I strain the broth, and I keep the broth now to use my dumplings. I add a quart of chicken broth to it, and then just because I don't use chicken fat, because I don't like the thoughts of eating all that fat and getting into my blood vessels, so I use Flavor Boost, a couple little packs of it, and about 4 bouillon cubes, chicken bouillon cubes in my broth.
Okay.
And I've already added it to this here, so.
So this broth is ready to go, all right?
You see I've got the chicken tore apart in bite-sized pieces.
Okay.
And the dumplings are frozen here.
Wow, look at that.
In a Ziploc bag. And you want to drop them into the boil. And if it slows down on the boil, then you need to let it come back up to a boil and start again. And I always use a wooden spoon. And sometimes you need to scrape them up from the bottom. You don't want them to stick, so just give them a little rake once in a while. You don't want to stir them too much because you don't want to break them all up.
I can't wait to eat them. They smell good too, that broth.
They're floating some of them already.
They are.
Now something else I do to thicken mine, sometimes the dumplings will thicken them some with flour from them, but I use what I call a slurry. I use a half cup or half or 3/4 cup of milk, which I add 2 heaping tablespoons of cornstarch to. Oh, that little bit of butter in there for me too.
You want the butter in
Add a little
here?
bit of butter for richness, about 2 tablespoons of
Woo! Okay.
to my broth.
The butter's melting. All right, folks, here's what it looks like when it's all cooked and thickened up, and I'm telling you, that looks absolutely scrumptious. So, Betty, we've cooked this now, I'd say, what, about 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes?
I turn it off and let them just stay in the kettle for about an hour.
Okay.
And they absorb a lot of that liquid and puff up and get to be, because they look almost, once you get cooked about 10 minutes, they look sort of clear looking, almost transparent.
With the setting over an hour or so.
Set in the kettle for about close to 45 minutes to an hour. They get to what they need to be.
They're glossy. I see you've put a little salt and pepper in there, and they're just so thick and rich and glossy looking. I'm telling you, they look wonderful. Wish you all out there today had some of these. So we're going to go to break, and when we come back, we'll have something else for you. So don't go anywhere. Be right back.
This is our mountain, Joel. Be right back.
Frontier Nursing University, celebrating 75 years as pioneers for healthcare. Our mission is to educate nurse midwives and nurse practitioners to serve women and families. Learn more about Frontier Nursing University. Visit frontier.edu.
Welcome back to Our Mountains. You know, Hazard Community and Technical College is very fortunate to have a professor named Venita Caldwell, and she's one of the finest storytellers and comedians that I've had the pleasure of hearing. Recently, she sat down with Rhonda and talked about growing up here in the mountains. Here's some of that conversation.
I've got a good friend with me here today, Venita Caldwell. I've known Venita since high school, and she's one of the funniest people I've ever known in my life. And she's going to tell us some stories later on today, but before we do that, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. I am so excited. I can
Good.
hardly stand it.
I am
But
too,
anyway.
I am too. But Venita has some interesting stories she's going to tell us about her mom. Would you do that?
I would. I'm always glad to talk about my mother. Mother died 6 years ago, last week actually. My mother, when she was 15 years old, first of all, let me say, my mother wanted to go to school so badly and was not allowed to go to school. She was allowed to go through the 8th grade, and she loved going to school so much that she asked her father if she could go another year to the 8th grade because he would not allow her to go to high school. So she went through the 8th grade twice just because she loved school. When she got out of the 8th grade the second time, she was 15 years old, able to go to work. And this was in the 1940s, 30s, 40s. Okay, she was born in 1927, so you can get an idea of that. She rode a mule across the hill from Coon Creek over to Wendover. And she was hired at Wendover by Mary Breckenridge to be Mary Breckenridge's personal maid. And part of her job was to help Mrs. Breckenridge every day. Mrs. Breckenridge loved to feed the chickens. And you'll see pictures of her actually feeding the chickens. That's very popular. And Mother would help her feed the chickens. When Mother had been there not very long, she had appendicitis. And Mrs. Breckenridge, when she came from the hospital, when they brought her back to Wendover, Mrs. Breckenridge moved her into the room next to her own at Wendover and nursed her back to health. And that's the beginning of my mother's work life. And she worked at Frontier Nursing Service at Wendover until she met my father, who was also working at Wendover at the time. And they married. And then when I was 6 years old and started school, she became an employee of Frontier Nursing Service again at the Hyden Hospital, the old Hyden Hospital, and she was the chief cook for the nurses and the doctors and the dignitaries who came from all over.
Wow.
So
I bet you have some stories to tell there, don't you?
I do, and do you want me to tell?
Sure.
I do, and shall I go on, Rhonda?
Yes, go ahead.
When I was growing up, people talk about Eastern Kentucky in negative terms, and they talk about how isolated we are, how cut off from the world we are, and how we don't know how to act when we go anyplace else. My mother cooked for the nurses, the midwives, and the doctors, and it was not uncommon when I was in first grade, second grade, third grade, because we lived on Hospital Hill. I would come home from school and there would be ladies from England, Scotland, Britain, sitting in our living room, and my mother was always picking up strays, people or animals, and she would bring them home, and because they were so far from home and because they did not have family, Mother just sort of adopted these women, and they would come home. And so after dinner, we were sitting in the living room, and I was listening to all these stories about other parts of the world that I had not visited, but I felt like, you know, I had because they were there.
Right.
And I always say that Frontier Nursing Service and the nurses and doctors and people from FNS that I met when I was growing up, and the bookmobile, gave the world to me. And I have traveled all over the world in books and in stories from other folks. And I think that's a wonderful thing, because I had a fantastic childhood. I did not feel deprived. I did not feel like I had missed out on anything, because I had people and books who really enriched my life. So that's my story.
That's great. That's great. So tell us what you're doing now, Venita.
What am I doing now? I'm dodging acorns on your
They're all
deck
falling
right
today.
now. Is what we're doing now.
The sky's falling.
The sky's falling. The sky's falling. Is that the Little Red Hen or Chicken Little?
Chicken
I don't
Little.
remember, but anyway, it is literally. I assume my day job.
Okay,
I
there we
should
go.
I should tell you what my day job is, because I love my day job. Love my day job. I am a professor at Hazard Community and Technical College in Hazard, Kentucky, and have been there full-time for about 21 years and longer than that as an adjunct professor and whatever. And I love my job and I love my students. And Hazard Community College, I can't do enough plugs for Hazard Community and Technical. But I have a little side show,
Okay.
circus sideshow, that's me. Go to the freak tent. But anyway, I have a little side activity that I do, stand-up comedy for folks. I am One Funny Lady Productions is what I am.
Is that it? The name of it is One Funny
I am
Lady?
One Funny Lady Productions. And I have talked to folks in basements in London, and I have talked to people.
London, Kentucky.
London, Kentucky,
Okay.
yeah. London, Kentucky. But I have a story about that. Can I tell it now, or should I not? About my London, Kentucky visit.
Let's hear it.
Okay.
Is it a good one?
It's a wonderful one. I used to, well, I mean, I think it's a wonderful one, but anyway, that gave me a chuckle. And I'm easy, so maybe nobody else will think this is funny. We were in London, Kentucky, in the basement of what used to be the old Sue Bennett College, and I had a whopping 70 would have been great. I had a whopping 20 people, maybe, in this basement from some organization. And at the time, I was doing, for the Humanities Council, and I was doing this this program. It was called Kerosene Salad Bars.
Okay.
And it's a takeoff on things that people put on marquees that really don't go together, like kerosene and salad bars. Well, that was the title of my show. And for those people out there who do comedy of any sort, you know when things are going well or not with your crowd. Well, 20 people, 19 of them were laughing and having such a good time with me. One lady was not. And when I say she was not, I mean she was not having a good time with me. She was not having a good time at all. And so I start working, you know. I mean, I'm doing everything but tap dancing on the tables. I am working to make this woman love me. And the harder I work, the less she loves me. And I'm thinking, I don't know what to do. So when everything was over and we were having a little meet and greet, and people were saying it was really nice and they were very complimentary. And the lady who asked me to come came up and she said to me, "Did you notice that you had one lady who didn't seem to really appreciate your show?" And
She wasn't engaged.
And I started, oh, she wasn't engaged. No. And I started to say, why no? I didn't know. You know, can you smell me sweat at this point? And she said, "I probably need to explain to you. She is from London, England. And she came tonight thinking that Kerosene Salad Bars was going to be a show about cooking and recipes, and she's a little disappointed."
She wanted that kerosene salad bar.
Yeah, she wanted a kerosene salad bar, and God bless her heart, had I known that she wanted one, I would have fixed her up one.
Thanks to Miss Venita for spending some time with us here on Our Mountains. Right now we've got a song coming up from Richard Bowers, and a little bit later we'll go back to Muncie Creek Baptist Church where Miss Rhonda is going to cook some cornbread to go along with the dumplings. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
Our Mountains is currently looking for area businesses and organizations interested in sponsoring our show. From large corporations to the shop around the corner, any business in Our Mountains will benefit from the exposure gained from advertising on our show, and we have plans to fit any budget. Call Rhonda at 606-521-6493 or send us an email to ourmountainseky@gmail.com for more information or to set up an appointment. Help us celebrate East Kentucky culture and support Our Mountains.
Folks, welcome back to Our Mountains. I met Richard Bowers this past summer working on a concert series we had here in Leslie County. He's a pastor, a musician, and just a great friend. Here he's going to do an old gospel song in a new and exciting way. Sure hope you enjoy it.
All right, I like the old hymns, and I like the old hymns redone with new tunes. And so by request, I'm going to do this one for Joel Brashear.
So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. In that old rugged cross, stained with blood so divine, for 'twas on that old cross Jesus suffered and died to pardon and sanctify me. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. To that old rugged cross I will ever be true. Its shame and reproach gladly bear. Then he'll call me someday to my home far away, where his glory forever share. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown.
Richard, I sure do appreciate you doing that song for me. That one was by request. And speaking of being thankful, folks, I want to introduce you to my son. This is William Frederick Brashear III, but we all call him Trip. And if you haven't noticed, he's got a neck brace on. Trip recently had an accident at school, and he ended up with 5 broken bones in his back and his neck. But we're very thankful to say that he's going to make a full recovery, aren't we, buddy? So with Thanksgiving just around the corner, and we're all very thankful for Trip and for him making a very speedy recovery. Now, something else we're thankful for is Trip's Mimi. She'll be right back. She's heading back over to Muncie's Creek, and she'll be making some delicious Cloma's cornbread. We'll be right back.
Frontier Nursing University, celebrating 75 years as pioneers for healthcare. Our mission is to educate nurse midwives and nurse practitioners to serve women and families. Learn more about Frontier Nursing University. Visit frontier.edu.
We're watching our mountains.
Hey folks, Our Mountains is always looking for interesting stories and talented musicians from our region to showcase. If you'd like to be part of Our Mountains, or if you just want to let us know what you think of the show, give us a call at 606-521-6493. You can always shoot us an email at ourmountainseky@gmail.com. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, thanks for watching Our Mountains.
Welcome back, folks. Well, my Granny Josephine calls what we're about to see rough grub. But there's nothing rough about eating Cloma's cornbread. Mom?
Betty's got the dumplings all made. Now it's my turn to do the cornbread. And today we're going to do a recipe that I've used for years. And this came from a neighbor. Her name was Cloma. And I've used this recipe many, many times. And it's very easy, but it's so good. It's as good as cake. So we're going to start with a cup of cornmeal mix. 1 cup of drained whole kernel corn. About 8 ounces or a cup of sour cream. 2 eggs. And a 1/2 cup of oil. That's it. You whisk all of that together, and I'm going to need a real hot skillet to put it in. Just stir it up really well. I'm going to bake this for about 30 minutes at 350 degrees. And it's some good eating cornbread. Now, just before I put it in my skillet, I'm going to coat the skillet with a little bit of oil just to keep it from sticking. A tablespoon or 2. And that's it. Oh, listen to it sizzle. That means it's really good, hot, and ready to stick in a 350-degree oven for about 30 minutes, but check it often so you don't burn it. The pumpkin rolls go.
Cornbread too.
Hey, Margaret. All right, we're right in the middle of a big fellowship dinner down here in our fellowship hall, and I've got with me Mrs. Betty Mosley today. And Betty, would you care to tell us what you do now for our church?
I play the piano.
Okay, and how long have you done this?
Well, let's see. I played the piano about 6 years before I went to Lexington, and then since 77.
Okay, so a number of years.
And we sang together in a
Yes,
quartet.
we do. We've sung together and played together.
And
so.
we have an organ.
Yes.
Chris plays the organ with me.
Okay.
And we're proud of you, Rhonda.
Thank you, Betty. There's Poppy. So here's the cornbread hot out of the oven. Smells really good, and it's going to be so good with those dumplings. Oh, perfect, perfect.
We enjoyed it too much.
The dumplings are done, the cornbread's already baked, and I'm going to enjoy these delicious dumplings. Perfect.
It actually is out of the garden, yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
I love it.
Thanks again, Betty, for doing this.
Well, as you can see, the cornbread cooking segment came out really well, as the dumplings did. Dino wasn't at either one. While we go to break, I'm going to renegotiate my contract and order some takeout. We'll be right back.
Our Mountains is sponsored by Frontier Nursing University, Pioneers for Healthcare, the Kentucky Bankers Association, More Than Banks, They're Your Neighbors, Creek, bringing our heritage into our future, and by a special gift from Mr. and Mrs. Sunshine.
Well, we love to cook and we love to eat here on our mountains, and I had fun doing the dumplings and the cornbread, so...
It was great to have Richard here with us. You know, he came back to a solo song, so it was nice to see him again.
Yeah, the cornbread and dumplings segment, I really enjoyed watching that on the screen.
It was good.
It was really good to eat, Dean. Sorry you missed that.
What did I do with that contract?
Well, folks, work on that contract for next time, I promise.
Right. Thanks to Miss Venita Caldwell for visiting with us on our mountains as well. And wraps up another show.
She'll be back on another episode too.
All right.
That'll do it, folks. We'll see you next time.